What's going on, everybody? Um, this video is another part to my series called The Confessional. This video is specifically talking about how it is that I deal with two conditions that I've suffered with for as long as I can remember and just didn't know that I was dealing with. Those two conditions are bipolar disorder and avoidant personality disorder. Um, so, in a nutshell, before I get into what that means for me personally, gonna make some general statements. Let me say and make this disclaimer: I am not a healthcare professional. I do not pretend to be an expert on it. I can only offer you what I know from research and study and looking it up and asking questions and everything else. That's all I can offer. You should, in fact, do your own research and study and find out more information about it for yourself so you can find out what you need to know and what you want to know about the conditions I just mentioned. But those are two things that I deal with. And so I just want to put that out there. Second thing, um, it's okay to have mental health issues. It's as normal as being diagnosed with cancer or asthma or um, high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, um, or any other ailment that you have. It's as normal as that. It's something beyond your control. It's something that you have to deal with. Some people, it's hereditary, like myself. In my immediate family, genetically, I had a higher probability than probably most that this would be possibly something I'd have to deal with. I want to also say too this: when you make the statement about someone, oh they're being bipolar today, or whatever, um, be very careful in how you say that, because I've been around people who didn't know that I suffered with bipolar disorder in recent years, and they've called something something, and I've said that I can deal with it better now. But in the beginning, when I first got diagnosed, it really used to hurt my feelings to a level a bit. They People have a preconceived notion, an image of what bipolar disorder looks like and acts like, not knowing that bipolar disorder has a lot of different elements that make it what it is for each individual. A lot of times it's very hard, and it takes a process, in fact, to find the right treatments and medications, if necessary, to treat bipolar disorder. And we in the black community, we only know it as, oh, crazy Uncle Charlie or whatever, um, who probably is bipolar, but he probably is bipolar with paranoid schizophrenia or some type of other mental health issue that affects his personality and how he relates and deals with the world. So there's lots of people who are bipolar, but because their bipolar doesn't look like someone else's bipolar, they don't think that it is what it is. Um, and I was victim of that. I didn't know. My parents didn't know. Nobody really knew this was something I was suffering with. But so for me, bipolar disorder is hereditary. It's not brought on because of a traumatic experience that I've had in my life. For some people, it is, they've had some traumatic experience that has forever altered how they look at the world around them. And in effect, they've had mental trauma. Just like if you were to break your arm and they tried to fix it, your arm will never really be exactly the same ever again. It's the same thing when you go through a mental traumatic experience. For me, it's just simply hereditary. I had a first episode and didn't know it, and suffered ever since, or dealt with it ever since. Um, so let's discuss what it means for me to have bipolar disorder and avoidant personality disorder. So for me, there's two ends of a situation, one end, other end, and then there's the middle ground. Let's say where my thumbs meet, right? So you can be on the right hand side, your left, and that be the good side, the great side to be on. You're in great spirits, everything else, all of that. That's the extreme good. And then there's the extreme sad, depressed end of things where my life is over, why, woe is me, why is this happening to me, all that on this side. Then there's the middle where you're not completely sad, but you're not completely happy. You're not feeling any specific extreme one way or another. You're just in the middle. You're in that good place. Most people stay in a good place naturally and normally. For a person who hereditarily is bipolar like myself, chemical our chemicals are a bit imbalanced. That's why they give us medicines to keep us more in the middle than sad or happy. It's to balance our moods out. When we are in what's called a mania state, um, when we're experiencing mania, uh, we can conquer the world, we feel. Um, we are very good workers. Our personalities are great. We're fun to be around. We crack jokes. Personality is excellent. We're good all around people in that state of mind. Um, and then on the other end of things, we could completely shut down. We could become, for some of us, not me personally, but for some of us, become suicidal. There's also a term called passive suicidalness, which is what I've been at points in time where it's, you know what, it may be advantageous for the sake of preserving my life that I do this, but you know what, I don't care at the moment. And if what I'm doing will result in me not being here tomorrow, I don't care. It's not that I'm actively doing anything to kill myself. It's I don't care. I don't have a will for anything right now, even if it will protect and preserve my life. I don't care. That's passive suicidalness. Um, so let me say too that I decided to talk about this because I'm currently going through it right now. I'm having a episode. That's what they're called. When you get to a place where you're not on that bubbly level of mania, you're not in the middle, but you're on the other end of the spectrum. This side of things, I believe I said. um, so for the last 7 days, I've been suffering with. Level one is a day or so will pass and I feel a little down. And then I'll snap out of it. No big deal. That's what normal people have. My level one, right? So I'm at level two right now. Level two is where it lasts for days, weeks, and all I want to do is be in bed. I just want to stay to myself. Don't want to do too much talking. I don't have any energy or will to do many things that I need to do. I push beyond and I do, and it's really hard to do what I need to do for myself. But if you gave me the choice, just for coping, I would stay in my bed, or I would stay in a corner, or I would sit in the same spot, and that be what it is. Level three, which is the worst stage for me, is that I have no will to do anything. I don't want TV. I don't want music. I don't want human interaction. I don't want to eat. I want to sleep because I don't have to be aware physically or mentally of what's going on. I don't have to feel the pain that I feel, be it physical or mental, emotional, whatever. Um, I don't want to use the restroom. It is debilitating to the point of you can't do the things you need to do for yourself. Like if you have a job, you need to get to work. You may not be able to be functional to go to your own job to do it. Just not because you're not lazy. It's just that all that is in you to have a will to do what you need to do throughout the day has been sucked out of you when you're in that state of mind. Like I've been at points in time. Um, and so for me, that's what it means. Uh, and I'll be honest with you, I've for the last 7 days, 5 of those 7 days, or 4 of those 7 days, I've been in bed all day long. Barely wanted to go to the restroom. Slept as much as I could. Did not talk on the phone too much. Just did not want to be bothered. Really, really was MIA. Really didn't say much to people. Um, Conversely, too, and this kind of got to me a little bit because I'll say this much: I'm also very emotional right now. Things make are making me cry. Things are making me sad. Thought patterns are making me be in a certain frame of mind that I don't completely like. Um, but whatever the case, it just doesn't feel good. It feels it it sucks. Um, I was riding the train. Just I got out the house because it was just imperative. I get out the house because if I would have stayed in here any longer, I'd probably be even worse off than I am right now. So I got out the house. I went in, rode the bus. I went and rode the light rail downtown. Just got out the house. And at one moment when I was on the light rail, I was listening to my iPod, and the song did not emotionally do anything to me necessarily. It was just that I felt so horrible in that moment, standing there riding the train, that I just wanted to sob and break down right where I stood. But I couldn't. And the only reason I couldn't is because I didn't want to be embarrassed in front of these people and have them thinking I had really went out of my mind. It's the only thing that made me keep it together as long as I did. Um, According to the federal government, I am disabled because, in fact, this condition does make it so that basic things that I need to do for myself, I can't. And it's not about, oh, I want to listen to music all day. Oh, I don't want to do anything. Oh, I don't want to whatever. It's that it takes a toll on your entire being, your mental state, your emotional state, your physical state. You can't do basic things. I went to go see my therapist because that's one thing I do once a week on Fridays, and I asked her, did I look like I was okay? And she said, "You look okay. You don't look like your happy self." I said, "Yeah, this is true." And I said to her that I had lost some weight. And she said, I didn't want to mention it because I knew that you had been working on losing weight, which is true. I've been losing weight all the last year. But between the last time she saw me and this week, I had lost a rapid amount of weight, an amount of weight that I never lose that quickly. And I lost like 2 pounds, 2 or 3 pounds in a week. And it's because I haven't been eating, haven't wanted to cook, haven't wanted to drink anything. I've just been in bed. And I'm concerned now because there are some things that are about to start happening, some transitions I'm about to start making. Um, and it would be horrible timing if I get to a level 3 situation where I'm not functional enough to do all the things that I need to do to make some things happen that are about to happen, um, or in place to start happening. Um, but sometimes, the thing that is sometimes the thing that has brought me out of my funk at points has been just getting a phone call from somebody who really cared. Said, "Hey, I haven't heard from you. Just want you ran across my mind. Just wanted to make sure you were okay." Um, may have not, completely healed me of my pain at that moment of the condition that I suffer with, or deal with, but it put a little smile or a little light in my heart to know that somebody cared. A lot of times people don't even know that I'm suffering the way that I am. A lot of times because I don't get a lot of phone calls. There'll be days where my phone does not ring because no one calls. And most people they would say, "Ooh, that's the life." For a person like me, sometimes that's not the best thing. Um, but it is what it is. It's my reality. I don't have many friends or whatever. And people have to live their own lives, and I get that and I understand it. Um, but yeah, that's my reality with bipolar disorder. It debilitates me to a level where I can't function normally like everybody else does because I'm that depressed. I'm that down. I'm that defeated. I'm the shell of myself that I normally am. I'm here, but I look like there's no life in the body to an extent. Avoidant personality disorder. We'll briefly talk about that, and then I'll end this video because I don't want to depress you. Um, Avoidant personality disorder is basically me having real anxiety about being around people and meeting people, be it a club setting, a party, a graduation, a birthday gathering, going to sporting events, any of that kind of stuff. There's a level of anxiety that's above normal for me to have to deal with. I am very anxious about meeting people for the first time because I'm wondering what they're thinking about how I look, how I talk, how I act, my mannerisms, my gestures, my word choicing, my verbiage. Um, if I'm obnoxious to them, if I am too quiet, uh, it gets to the point that you say to yourself, and this is most of the time the case. One of two things will happen. If I can avoid it, I just don't go to places, don't go to events, don't go to gatherings, don't do any of that stuff because I don't want to deal with being feeling like I'm on a microscope the entire time in my own mind, even though it may not be happening. Um, or I will, once I get to a situation, if it's overwhelming, I will find a corner, a spot, a place on a wall, um, a seat, somewhere that I can just sit and feel some level of comfort. Because for me, this is too much, too many people at one time. And so that's where I'll stay and that'll be it. It's that thing of, hey, you know what? That's way too much to have to deal with, to have to go through all that anxiety, have to find coping mechanisms to just get through the day of being around these people or the night of being around these people. So you know what? I'm just gonna stay to myself. You become very introverted, um, and it stifles the friends that you make, the associations you make, the contacts, the networking, etc. that you can do because you're hindered by that anxiety of worrying about, do they like me? Do they not like me? Do they think I'm too this? I'm too that. I'm not enough of this. I'm not enough of that. So to just avoid all that, you just exit out of your life. So that's what I do. But I would encourage anybody, specifically my black brothers and sisters out there who feel that, oh, I'm not crazy. Don't look at it as you're crazy, as in something is completely wrong with you and you're a freak or a weirdo. Take it as you have hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, or something else that you need to treat. Take it that way, deal with it. For some people, it may take months to find the right medicine and right dosage to manage your condition. And you may have to change your medicine a couple times over the years because sometimes the medicines do become ineffective. So you have to change and find something else that'll work for you. But do know that this is something that you can manage and treat in several different ways. And don't expect that because you're on the medicine that every day is going to be lollipops, gumballs, candy corn, and all that shit. It's just not. Not every day. All the medicine will do is make you function more like people who have normal levels of chemicals in their system or what have you. Um, it won't take away that you might be sad one day or two. It, the medicine will make it so that you don't stay there and get to a dangerous place where you're committing suicide, where you're doing um, dangerous behaviors and activities, etc., etc. So I would encourage you to go and get yourself checked out and treated if you think for a second that there might be something wrong. Because I'd hate to see someone pass away, especially who's watching my videos, because they've taken their life and they didn't get themselves taken care of and treated um, for something that could have easily been managed. So with that, I appreciate you watching, and be good. All right.